Good day, our listeners and viewers out there. This is another episode of NIMASA podcast. And today we'll be considering the Maritime Labour Services Department of NIMASA. We're going to be looking at the activities of the Maritime Labour Services, of course, towards ensuring that the seafarers gets a decent work agenda in line with the Maritime Labour Convention 2006. With me this day is the acting head Maritime Labour Services and the president of Mrs. Yetunde Collins. Join me as I welcome her to the podcast. Mrs. Yetunde Collins, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Our listeners would like to know you and meet you, and then before we go to the questions. Thank you, ma.
My name, as you have mentioned, is Yetunde Collins. I've been with the agency for a good number of years, over 15 years, and worked in so many departments. Right now, I am the acting head of the Maritime Labour Services Department.
All right, thank you very much. Once again, welcome to this episode of NIMASA Podcasts. For this episode, I am your host. My name is Femi Kumuyi. Now let's go straight to the question, ma. Can you tell us about the components of maritime labours in line with MLC 2006 and the agency's compliance status?
Well, the components of the Maritime Labour Services Department has to do with everything that has to do with ILO and IMO. We have a department divided into about 3 divisions and some units. One of the divisions is maritime capacity building, which has to do with the training of young Nigerians to become competent seafarers. Another aspect of that is we have the dock work training and the seafarers training that the agency conducts for Nigerian seafarers. We have another division we call the Seafarers Stroke ILO division. That's where we have the MLC 2006 issues dealt with. We check compliance. And I want to correct something about your question. It is not the agency that complies, it is the ship owners that comply.
Okay.
We also have another division that takes care of the dock work, the dock workers training, and also the registration of their employers, the stevedores, while the seafarers division takes care of the registration of the employers, the manning agents of the seafarers, and also the ship owner. Some of these ship owners sometimes employ directly on their own. So the MLC 2006 and all its provisions are taken care of under all these divisions, but majorly under the seafarers division, because here is where we check compliance, that the ship owners are complying with all the requirements. The MLC takes care of all that has to do with the seafarer that are working on board the ship at any particular point in time. It ranges from their health needs to the environment, to the food they eat, to their working conditions, their leave, their insurance. And one area the agency is really ensuring the compliance of their employers is in the area of ensuring that their employers have enough monies to take care of them. For every worker, wages is something paramount. So the agency over time had to increase the bank guarantee that the employers will bring before they can be employed or before their certificates can be renewed. So for the seafarers employers, you have to have a minimum of 5 million. Initially it was 1 million. But recently it was increased to 5 million. Why? Because should anything happen, there will be adequate care. Should they even lose their job or termination or retrenchment or whatever, there will be adequate fund for their benefits or entitlement to be taken care of. The same thing applies to this dock work. It used to be 1 million also. It was now upgraded to 3 million. So in this aspect, the agency is ensuring, and in so many other aspects, when we go for compliance and monitoring, before a license is issued for MLC 2006 license is issued or renewed, there's a checklist, a long checklist of what the compliance officer look out for on the vessel and about the seafarers before such licenses are signed for those employers. So the agency is doing a lot to ensure there's compliance, because we make sure that the seafarers or the dock workers are qualified before they can be put on board. So if they have done their part, so it is very important for the employers who are the ship owners now to do their part in taking care of their working conditions and all that relates to that.
All right, thank you very much, Mrs. Yetunde Collins, Acting Head, Maritime Labour Services. While you were talking, something captured my attention. You talked about 5 million bank guarantee. That's on the side of the seafarers employers, and then 3 million bank guarantee on the side of the dock labor employers.
Yeah.
How do you verify that they have these monies?
Oh, very simple. Once they go to their banks, we have many registered good banks in Nigeria. Once they go to their banks to obtain these documents, we verify through our legal services department. We verify they know how to reach out to the banks through the legal services of other banks. We already have that relationship. So in no time, once that is done, they are good to go. They get their licenses and the business goes on.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Again, you talked about Maritime Labour Convention 2006. It has to do with minimum standard.
Yes.
Now, can you say today that the ship owners and the dock labor employers are actually compliant in Nigeria?
You're not compliant, you don't have a license. You don't have a license, you are breaking the law of Nigeria, and there's repercussion to that.
Right.
So I think anybody that wants to do business in Nigeria must comply. And the Maritime Labour Services Department compliance unit ensures that. Yes, we are doing it. We can always do better because there are changing times, but we are doing a lot.
Okay, when I asked about compliance is for a reason. I know there's this National Joint Industrial Council, NJIC,
Yes.
that is being midwifed by the agency. Now, does it mean that all the ship owners and are they compliant with the minimum wage for the seafarers in Nigeria?
Yes, as much as they most of them invite us, and sometimes through the unions we get invitations. It is our responsibility to regulate, because there are minimum standards from the ILO as to how much they should be paid. Be that as it may, there's also collaboration between the agency, the seafarers, and even their employers. All this collaboration, we all come together and agree on what is obtainable and what is acceptable. Everybody brings what they have to the table, and we look at what is ideal, what should be. And most of these companies sign CBA. We sign CBA from time to time. We go back and forth, but at the end of the day, we get to agree, and every party, are set and understand what is being done, and agreements are signed.
All right, so in this case, are there sanctions for employers that are not meeting up to the standard?
We have our regulations, and every default comes with sanction. It is there even in the act, we have them. So if you default, you're not able to agree. Of course, there'll be mediation and the rest of it. But if you are an outright defaulter, that even employ a seafarer that is not registered, there's a sanction for it. It takes us time to whip that, to wield that whip. But we do when we find out that the person is just very uncooperative. But to give it to them, most of the seafarer employers, they are quite cooperative.
All right, that's very good to know. All right, talking about the industry generally, we can all know in the last few years there have been some relative peace and tranquility. There's no more, you don't have picketings, you don't have strikes and all that. Even though there are threats of strikes. How has the agency been able to consolidate on these games to ensure that this peace and tranquility remains in industry so that the industry can grow?
Well, kudos goes to the management of the agency under the leadership of our DG, Dr. Bashir Jamo, and his team. A lot is being done. And kudos also go to the representative of this dock labor, especially Maun and their leadership. There has been a lot of collaboration, a lot of meetings, agreeing, and roundtable talks to ensure proper things are done at the right time. And I also want to hail the leadership of Maun for leaving the big whip of, downing tools as a last resort. And I think most time we never get there because there's always agreement at the end of the day. So with the open door policy of the management of NIMASA and with the willingness on the Maun side also to come round for negotiation than going on strike, this collaboration has further foster peace in the industry. And I think for as long as this goes on, where there is negotiation, where there is agreement, where there are meetings, we won't be having too much of industrial unrest.
All right, very quickly, I want to talk about collaboration. I know you mentioned it while you were talking earlier. How is the MLS department using collaboration as a tool to actualize or to fulfill its mandate as a department?
Collaboration within the agency and collaboration with stakeholders is what the MLS department do. We do it a lot. We collaborate with a lot of all departments that we have to work with. In fact, almost all departments, both formally and informally. When there's need to write, we write. When there's need, we meet ourselves over the corridor, we discuss issues. We embrace all forms of communication to ensure that our job is seamless and we also maintain good relationship with other departments. We have the cabotage department. We relate a lot on daily basis. We have the ROS, the registrar of ship department. Even the service department within the organization, like the finance, the admin, and other technical departments, we always work together. It doesn't have to be formal all the time. You can just pick up your phone and call a colleague. I need this, I need that. And with the zones and outstations, we're always together so that the job becomes easier and everybody is carried along where need be.
All right, thank you very much. To our listeners out there, in case you're just joining us, I've been speaking with the Acting Head Maritime Labour Services Department of NIMASA, Mrs. Yetunde Collins, and she's been speaking with us on the effects of Maritime Labour Convention 2006 and the agency's activities towards ensuring that employers of seafarers and dock labour comply to this. Very quickly, I'd like to ask, can you just briefly give us an update on the NSDP?
The NSDP is a very laudable project of the agency. Update, yes. You find out that the new NSDP, which we call the NSDP 3, is a one-stop arrangement where a seafarer starts from the beginning and doesn't finish the program within a stipulated time until he has a COC, which is the licensure that they all wait for. So there's no break. The only time you have a break is maybe they need to come for a holiday, like the Christmas season, some of them may come home. Unlike what we had initially, where we had problem of putting them on board for sea time. But with what we have in place now, it is a straight program. The school takes care of everything, from all the classroom training to going on sea for the sea training to writing their licensure exam that makes them officers on board. So the NSDP program is ongoing. We have quite a number of, we have them in India, we have them in Greece right now, over 300, less than 400 of them, and they are doing very well.
All right, thank you very much, Ma. Very quickly, and the last one before you leave. The year is winding down already. Can you briefly state your achievements for the year 2023 and what does the outlook for 2024 portend in the Maritime Labour Services Department of NIMASA?
The Maritime Labour Services Department has achieved a lot, especially in the areas of registering the stevedores, the manning agents, and also promoting a conducive environment for them. The department, through the support of the executive management and policies of the agency, has been able to train a lot of seafarers. You find that we've also been able to put a good number of them on board. This year, I may not have the figures at my tip now, but we've done a great deal in ensuring that those that are qualified have job, and we also train them. Of recent, you are aware we had the dock workers the day, a maiden one for that matter, and I'm sure you saw, it was successfully held, and the dock workers were happy because they were recognized. We are looking forward to a new year in which the program of the agency, as it relates to every services the department is mandated to deliver, are better delivered in terms of placement on board, training of seafarer, regulating their employers, and ensuring that the environment is conducive even for the ship owners. We look forward to a year of better achievements.
All right, thank you very much. Lastly and finally, what is your word for the Nigerian outside there?
To all Nigerians outside there, we encourage them to participate more in the blue economy, given that we even have a new ministry now under new leadership. There's a lot to benefit from, and there's a lot of business to even do within the blue economy. So for every Nigerian, especially Lagos, water is everywhere, and we can do a lot with this water. So I wish everyone a blue Christmas.
All right, thank you very much. It's been a very nice time speaking with the Acting Head of Maritime Labour Services Department of NIMASA, Mrs. Yetunde Collins. She has said it to you all out there that we should participate more in the blue economy because it portends a lot of opportunities for the Nigerian economy. And of course, she has said it all. She's wishing everyone, of course, a blue Christmas. That means a fruitful Christmas. Distinguished viewers, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this episode. I would like to say to you all, compliments of the season, and we hope that you subscribe to our channel at NIMASA Official on YouTube and can still watch this edition over and over again. Thank you very much. Stay tuned until the next edition. I am Femi Kumuyi.